we're also living at an epic time, at a time of global crisis, of climate crisis, of ecological crisis, of pandemics that are the result of our unbalanced relationship with nature. And there have only been 5 of these in the history of life on the planet Earth. 5 great extinction events, and we're living in the 5th one. The previous extinction event was when a gigantic meteorite struck the Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs. And with it, 99% of all life forms disappeared. And that's, of course, when these little mammals that eventually became us humans occupied the ecological niche vacated by all of the others, and evolution became very rapid and accelerated. We're living in the 5th extinction event today, with more species dying off more rapidly than any other time in history. Now, Mother Earth loves life. So during these extinction events, what happens is that she steps on the accelerator. That evolution changes from following the laws of Newtonian physics, which is incremental, gradual change, to following the laws of quantum physics, which is extraordinary quantum leaps into becoming new species, into accelerated evolution, tremendously accelerated, without going through the intermediate steps. Our species, in a way, metaphorically speaking, has come to an end. Homo sapiens is no longer viable. We have to become a new human. And that new human, I found that the indigenous people spoke about as being Homo luminous. Not only knowing man, but luminous humans. And this required a quantum leap. As the fate of the Earth goes, so goes our fate. That I cannot be healthy unless my environment is healthy. Like the Native Americans say, as the fate of the Earth goes, so goes our fate. Now, the indigenous people also discovered that we have an energy body, an energy field that organizes the physical body in the same way that a magnet organizes iron filings on a piece of glass. Now, in the West, we're really preoccupied with the iron filings, with the physical body, with adjusting it or cutting it or killing the cancer. But we don't understand the field. And the energy field is basically the blueprint that organizes the body. It's an information field. It's not a reservoir of energy as fuel. It's energy that contains information. And the shamans in the Americas believe that in the field, it is all of the information of how you will live, how you will heal, and how you will die. And then unless you upgrade the quality of the field, unless you remove the imprints for disease that they describe as these dark, heavy energies in the field that will attach themselves to an organ and will later become somatized and express as illness, that unless you remove these toxic imprints, that you will be living and dying the way your family did. And that you will be playing out the same family dramas of scarcity, of I can never find a man, I can never find the right partner. And they discovered how to interact directly with the field. That this field, in effect, could be intervened with in the same way that a surgeon might intervene in the body. That you could upgrade the quality of the field to upgrade the quality of your health. Energy medicine. Now, in science, when you do an experiment, you want to have N, which is the number of people in your experiment, be big as possible, so that it's accurate. But today, we're doing the experiment of N is equal to 1. And 1 is you. My experiment is called Alberto. Now, to take part in this experiment, you have to eat organic, you have to eat well, you have to detoxify, you have to upgrade the brain and feed it fats, good fats, the olive oils, the avocados, the nuts, that it can begin to burn fats for fuel. You have to lower blood sugar levels. We have to switch on the higher brain. We have to clear the toxic imprints in our energy field that are the emotional heritage that we got from our family. You have to heal those childhood wounds and change those stories and write more interesting stories. And if you don't do that, then you get to be part of the control group. And the control group is the rest of humanity. It's what we call statistics. It's the bell curve. And the bell curve, the statistics are not pretty. They say that 1 out of 3 people will die from cancer. 29% of us will die from heart disease. That if you get to be 85 years old, you will have a 50% risk of having diagnosable Alzheimer's. This is not forgetting where your keys are. This is forgetting your children's names. 1 out of 2 people. That's the bell curve. That's the control group. We want to be an outlier in the bell curve. We want to take part in that experiment of n is equal to 1. Today, it is absolutely essential. And when we take part in that experiment, we're taking part in that greater experiment that Mother Nature is conducting today of quantum evolution. We can become that new human that can be disease-proof, that can have her health span equal her lifespan, that can be part of this longevity experiment that we're primed for, that nature is so interesting in having this be a successful experiment. We can take part in that. Now, to do that, we have to begin with the brain, because toxins that we have all been exposed to, I remember as a boy playing with mercury when the thermometer broke, holding the mercury in my hand. And mercury is a neurotoxin. And then going to my dentist and having my dentist put mercury in my mouth, in my teeth. The body sequesters toxins in fat because these are the long-lived molecules. And this is one of the problems with weight loss strategies. You go to a weight loss center and you lose a lot of, begin to burn fat, but you're releasing toxins into the bloodstream, heavy metals, pesticides, that the body has sequestered in these very long-lived molecules. And if you don't accompany that with liver support to detoxify the body, you will retox. These toxins will migrate to the brain because the brain has so much blood flow and circulation. So we have to begin by detoxifying the brain. And we know how to do that today. We know how to do that safely. So we can take part in that experiment in intelligence. We cannot change our mind unless we change our brain. And we can only change our brain by detoxifying our brain and by taking part in ceremony. Today we need to create sacred rites of passage so that we can choose health and we don't have to be struggling with my diet and my yoga and my exercise. Do I have time? Can I fit meditation into my schedule today? No, we go through a rite of passage, a small rite of passage. Doesn't have to be complex, where you can make a vow to a new level of wellness in your life. And we help our clients to do this so that they don't have to deal with, micromanage their health. They can come up with a sacred health plan supported by a rite of passage. And in doing so, perhaps we can create a rite of passage for humanity at large, to develop a new and sustainable relationship with each other and with the earth. And to close, I'd like to share a story. I was visiting a friend of mine, a fellow author, and he had a big day of work, and we were sitting down. He poured a glass of wine for himself and for me, and his little girl comes running in and said, Daddy, you said we would play when you came home. And Daddy was tired, and I had just arrived, and there was a National Geographic magazine laying on the table. And in the back page, there was an image of the Earth taken from space. And he tore that page out, and he got a pair of scissors, and he cut it out into 30 pieces of paper, and he gave it to his daughter with a roll of Scotch tape. And he said to her, honey, put the Earth back together, and as soon as you do that, I'll go play with you. Thinking we'd have maybe a half hour while she worked on this puzzle, and we're having our glass of wine, and 5 minutes later she rushes into the room, and the Earth is put back together. And we say to her, how did you do this? This is amazing. Every continent is exactly where it belongs. And she said, Daddy, I turned the page over, and in the back of the page there was a photograph of a man's head. When I put the man's head back together again, the world turned out exactly as it should be. So thank you very much. Blessings. Be well.